For millennia, an ancient prophecy lay dormant, a shadow across time. It spoke of a man rising, not as a conqueror, but as an architect of peace, unifying nations under a singular vision. Yet, it also foretold the moment this very peace would transform into the ultimate deception. Today, in October 2025, that prophecy stirs. The ancient stones of Jerusalem are being readied. Preparations for a monumental rebuilding are underway, while a figure, heralded by world leaders as a visionary peacemaker, weaves an unprecedented tapestry of alliances across the Middle East. But what if this era of apparent tranquility is not the dawn of a new age, but the prelude to an event foretold thousands of years ago, when the world applauds what the heavens mourn? Before we delve deeper into this critical moment, we want to hear from you. In the comments below, let us know where you are watching from today. This is the story of a world on the precipice, where ancient texts meet modern headlines. October 2025. The global geopolitical climate remains in a state of precarious equilibrium. Border skirmishes persist in Eastern Europe, economic sanctions generate widespread hardship across multiple continents, and the constant threat of cyber warfare looms over critical infrastructure. In this environment, the international community has expressed a profound and unified yearning for stability and a cessation of long-standing conflicts. The clamor for peace has become a deafening echo in diplomatic halls and across public forums, creating a fertile ground for anyone who can credibly offer a path to de-escalation. At the forefront of these efforts, particularly within the Middle East, stands Jared Kushner. His tenure as a senior advisor to the President of the United States positioned him uniquely to broker the historic Abraham Accords, fundamentally reshaping alliances and fostering unprecedented diplomatic ties between Israel and several Arab nations. Even after formal departure from his advisory role, Kushner has maintained an influential, albeit less visible, presence in international diplomacy. Recent reports from regional capitals indicate his continued engagement in high-level discussions aimed at expanding these peace initiatives, extending normalization efforts, and forging new trilateral and multilateral agreements. These discussions reportedly encompass a wide range of topics, from trade and technological cooperation to shared security protocols and cultural exchange programs. He is frequently described by international media and political analysts as a singularly effective mediator, possessing a distinct ability to navigate complex political landscapes and forge consensus among historically adversarial parties. His pragmatic approach, often prioritizing tangible economic and security benefits over deeply entrenched ideological disputes, has consistently garnered praise from those seeking resolution in the region. To many, he embodies the very hope for a lasting peace, a figure who can deliver what traditional diplomacy has failed to achieve for decades. Concurrently, approximately 600 miles to the southeast, a different, yet equally fervent, series of preparations is underway in Israel. While international headlines focus on diplomatic breakthroughs, a network of dedicated individuals operates with quiet determination towards a singular, profound objective: the reconstruction of the Third Temple. In secure workshops scattered around Jerusalem, highly skilled artisans meticulously craft the sacred implements required for temple service. The air in these facilities often carries the scent of freshly cut cedar, polished brass, and fine linen, as master craftsmen shape golden menorahs to precise dimensions, weave intricate priestly garments adorned with precious stones, and cast the ornate components of the incense altar. Every utensil, from the large bronze laver to the smallest silver spoon for offerings, is being replicated according to biblical specifications and interpretations derived from generations of rabbinical scholarship. These aren't merely museum pieces, they are functional artifacts, intended for immediate use in a rebuilt sanctuary. Parallel to the physical preparations, a disciplined regimen of spiritual and practical training is being undertaken by a select cohort of men. These individuals, identified as direct descendants of the ancient priestly lineage, Kohanim, are dedicating themselves to the exhaustive study of ancient sacrificial laws, purification rituals, and the precise liturgical practices of the temple service. Their training involves immersion in Talmudic texts, simulated altar procedures, and memorization of complex blessings and incantations. The goal is to ensure that, once the temple stands, the ancient worship can be reinstated with absolute historical and religious fidelity. The atmosphere within these training centers is one of intense focus and profound reverence, a quiet certainty underpinning every action, fueled by an almost palpable messianic expectation that permeates certain segments of Israeli society. This quiet anticipation, far removed from the public eye, represents a deep-seated hope for national redemption and spiritual renewal. The intersection of these two streams, the world's desperate embrace of a powerful peacemaker and Israel's quiet, resolute march toward its prophetic destiny of a reconstructed temple, casts an ancient script in a startlingly contemporary light. Across global news desks, questions persist about the durability of the peace initiatives and the genuine depth of the accords. However, the undeniable progress achieved under Kushner's influence continues to defy historical precedents, lending credence to the belief that a new era of stability may indeed be dawning. It is within this context that the words of the prophet Daniel resonate with chilling precision. He will confirm a covenant with many for 1 week, and in the middle of the week he will bring an end to sacrifice and offering. Daniel 9 verse 27. This single verse, centuries old, speaks of a decisive agreement, a covenant, that will shape the future for a specific, 7-year period, dramatically altering religious practices. For generations, this prophecy remained an enigma, a subject of academic curiosity and theological speculation. Today, however, as a celebrated architect of peace continues to forge alliances across the Middle East, and as the sacred components for a rebuilt sanctuary are nearing completion, the implications of Daniel's vision appear to be manifesting with an unsettling clarity. The world observes a profound quest for peace, but the question intensifies: what is the true nature of this imminent peace? Who is the man behind its promise? And what unspoken conditions might accompany a covenant so profoundly tied to ancient prophecy? In the shifting geopolitical landscape of October 2025, the trajectory of international diplomacy has been markedly influenced by the sustained efforts of Jared Kushner, 44. Following the foundational breakthroughs of the Abraham Accords, his continued engagement has consistently centered on solidifying and expanding regional peace initiatives in the Middle East. Kushner's approach, characterized by direct negotiation and a focus on economic incentives and mutual security interests, has reportedly bypassed conventional diplomatic obstacles, enabling rapid advancements where traditional methods had stalled for decades. His demonstrated ability to convene leaders from disparate backgrounds and ideologies, often fostering an environment of pragmatic cooperation, has earned him widespread recognition as an exceptionally effective mediator. He is frequently cited by international observers as possessing a unique capacity to unify nations and diverse religious factions under a shared vision of coexistence and regional stability. The profound impact of Kushner's diplomatic endeavors has been a recurring theme in global political discourse. On October 12, 2025, during a press briefing at Mar-a-Lago, former President Donald Trump, 79, delivered an extensive address, primarily commending Kushner's ongoing contributions to international relations. "Nobody has done what Jared has done for peace in the Middle East," Trump stated, his voice resonating with characteristic confidence. "He's a natural. A true visionary. What he accomplished with the Abraham Accords was just the beginning, and now, he's taking it even further. We're talking about real, lasting peace. The greatest deals, the best deals. This isn't just talk, this is action, producing results that nobody, and I mean nobody, thought possible." Trump continued, highlighting the economic benefits and enhanced security promised by these agreements, positioning Kushner's work as a cornerstone of future global stability. This public affirmation from a prominent global figure underscored the significant influence Kushner continued to wield on the international stage, further validating his ascendancy as a pivotal figure in global diplomacy. Weeks later, on October 28, 2025, Jared Kushner arrived in Jerusalem for a series of high-level meetings. He was officially received by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, 75, at the Prime Minister's residence. The discussions focused on expanding the Abraham Accords, with particular emphasis on integrating additional nations into the framework and deepening existing economic and security partnerships. Prime Minister Netanyahu, addressing reporters alongside Kushner, conveyed a palpable sense of optimism regarding the future of the region. Mr. Kushner's commitment and strategic brilliance have been instrumental in ushering in an era of unprecedented peace and cooperation, Netanyahu stated. Israel has long sought true security, and through these groundbreaking agreements, we are not merely discussing peace, we are constructing it, brick by brick. We envision a future of integrated economies, shared prosperity, and enduring safety for all peoples in this ancient land. The advancements made possible by Mr. Kushner's tireless efforts are nothing short of miraculous, laying the groundwork for a more secure and thriving Middle East. His remarks reflected a national sentiment in Israel that viewed these diplomatic successes as a crucial step towards long-term security and a realization of national aspirations. Observers and political analysts worldwide acknowledge the extraordinary nature of these developments. The speed with which complex, deeply entrenched hostilities were being mitigated and new alliances forged was deemed remarkable. Yet, beneath the widespread applause and diplomatic accolades, a subtle undercurrent of apprehension began to emerge in certain analytical circles. The scope and ambition of the peace initiatives, while celebrated, also prompted quiet reflection on their historical parallels and potential implications. The narrative that Jared Kushner's achievements seemed to align, with striking precision, with ancient prophecies, began to circulate discreetly among those attuned to such interpretations. This nascent tension suggested that the peace, heralded as a universal triumph, might be too good to be true, possessing a profound resonance beyond conventional geopolitical analysis. The sheer breadth of the agreements, touching on religious coexistence, economic integration, and regional security for a diverse array of nations, invoked a sense of wonder, tempered by a growing unease. The culmination of these intensified diplomatic efforts manifested on November 1, 2025, at an unprecedented international summit held in a neutral European capital. Representatives from over a dozen nations, including major Middle Eastern and global powers, gathered to formalize what was officially designated as the Global Stability and Prosperity Pact. This comprehensive, long-term agreement aimed to codify the ongoing peace initiatives, establish frameworks for continuous dialogue, mutual defense, and extensive economic collaboration. Jared Kushner, standing at the podium, his presence calm amidst the global media's intense scrutiny, outlined the pact's ambitious scope. He highlighted its provisions for a shared security architecture, extensive interfaith dialogue platforms, and an unprecedented economic development fund designed to uplift entire regions. The duration of this pact, meticulously negotiated, was officially stated to be 7 years, with provisions for perpetual renewal, should its initial phase prove successful. The announcement of this 7-year foundational agreement sent immediate shockwaves through international news outlets, triggering widespread euphoria. Leaders from participating nations delivered impassioned speeches celebrating a new era of cooperation and an end to historical animosities. The world responded with overwhelming acclamation. Stock markets rallied, peace dividends were optimistically forecast, and headlines globally proclaimed an unparalleled achievement in human history. Jared Kushner was universally lauded as the architect of a new dawn, a figure who had delivered the impossible. Yet, for a discrete segment of the global population, particularly those who had followed the quiet resurgence of ancient prophetic studies, the pronouncements of a 7-year covenant involving many nations resonated with an unsettling precision. The verse from Daniel 9 verse 27, "He will confirm a covenant with many for 1 week," ceased to be a mere historical curiosity. It now appeared to be unfolding in real time, its enigmatic terms mirrored in contemporary events. While the masses celebrated, a quiet, almost imperceptible tremor of something sinister began to settle, an unspoken question lingering in the triumphant air: was this heralded peace truly a blessing, or the precise prelude to an ancient, terrifying fulfillment? Following the formalization of the Global Stability and Prosperity Pact on November 1, 2025, attention within Israel has increasingly focused on the anticipated reconstruction of the Third Temple. The signing of the 7-year agreement, widely perceived as a monumental step towards lasting regional peace, has significantly emboldened groups dedicated to this ancient endeavor. Within these communities, a profound sense of optimism prevails, with many interpreting the new era of stability as a direct precursor to messianic redemption. Throughout various specialized workshops across Jerusalem, the meticulous work of artisans and trained priests continues with renewed fervor. Skilled craftsmen, many of whom have dedicated decades to this pursuit, are actively engaged in recreating the sacred utensils mandated for temple service. Gold and silver vessels are shaped with precise adherence to biblical specifications, ensuring every detail, from the dimensions of the showbread table to the intricate engravings on the priestly breastplates, aligns with religious tradition. Textiles for priestly vestments, dyed and woven to ancient patterns, are prepared with painstaking care, reflecting the profound spiritual significance attached to each item. Concurrently, a select group of Kohanim, identified through genealogical records as direct descendants of the priestly caste, undergo rigorous training. These individuals immerse themselves in the complex rituals and sacrificial procedures prescribed in the Torah, preparing both physically and spiritually for their future roles. The atmosphere surrounding these preparations is one of unwavering devotion and an almost palpable anticipation, as participants believe they are on the cusp of fulfilling a divine mandate. In mid-November 2025, Jared Kushner arrived in Jerusalem for a high-profile visit, a crucial follow-up to the Global Stability and Prosperity Pact. His agenda included a symbolic ceremony to formally ratify the pact's final implementation details with key regional partners and a scheduled address at a prominent cultural institution. His arrival was met with significant honors, reflecting his elevated status as the architect of the recent peace. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, 75, personally greeted Kushner at Ben Gurion Airport, emphasizing the strategic importance of his visit for cementing regional stability. During his televised address, Kushner delivered an inspiring speech focused on themes of unity, religious freedom, and mutual respect. He spoke of a new dawn for the Middle East, where ancient animosities would yield to unprecedented cooperation, and all faiths could coexist peacefully. This pact, Kushner declared, is not merely a political agreement, it is a testament to humanity's enduring capacity for peace. It ensures that sacred sites will be protected, that religious observances will be honored, and that the promise of a future built on understanding, not conflict, will become a tangible reality for generations to come. His words resonated deeply with many in the audience and across Israel, with numerous religious leaders and public figures interpreting his message and the surrounding peace developments as a clear sign of divine favor, an unfolding of prophetic expectation. Prime Minister Netanyahu's role throughout these developments has been consistently supportive, positioning him as a key facilitator of these initiatives. He publicly lauded Kushner's vision and effectiveness, viewing him as an indispensable strategic ally in securing Israel's future. Netanyahu's public statements underscored a firm belief in the pact's ability to provide lasting security and prosperity for the nation. While deeply invested in the pursuit of peace and the potential for a rebuilt temple, official pronouncements from the Prime Minister's office and government sources consistently frame these achievements through a purely geopolitical and national security lens, without acknowledging or referencing the specific prophetic implications recognized by other segments of society. Netanyahu, from this perspective, operates with the pragmatic understanding of an astute political leader, perceiving Kushner's actions as beneficial strategic maneuvers rather than components of a larger, scripturally defined narrative. However, for those with a discerning eye on ancient texts, the widespread joy and profound hope currently enveloping Israel stand in stark contrast to a different, more ominous prophecy. The meticulous preparation of the temple utensils and the training of the priesthood, while perceived by many as the joyous prelude to messianic redemption, simultaneously fulfill a far more chilling prediction. The narration of Daniel spoke not only of a covenant but also of a subsequent stage of desolation that would follow the false peace. This creates a tragic irony. Israel, in its sincere pursuit of peace and spiritual renewal, may unknowingly be preparing the very throne of the impostor. The temple, envisioned as an altar of glory, becomes, in this prophetic context, the central piece of a trap, a mechanism for the greatest deception ever prepared for humanity. The tension intensifies as the audience grapples with this stark dichotomy, realizing the profound depth of the impending deception, with the sacred space of the reconstructed temple at its very core. Following the establishment of the Global Stability and Prosperity Pact, Jared Kushner's profile soared to unprecedented heights of global acclaim. Images of him with heads of state and addressing jubilant crowds dominated news cycles. Leaders across the globe lauded him as the preeminent peacemaker of modern history, with cameras meticulously documenting his every public appearance. The widespread belief that international conflict, a relic of the past, had finally been vanquished under his influence, permeated global consciousness. Nations, once entrenched in ancient disputes, now engaged in unprecedented cooperation. The world, exhausted by generations of strife, embraced the peace he had orchestrated with open arms, metaphorically bowing before the architect of this new global paradigm. The euphoria surrounding this perceived new dawn was nearly universal. Governments redirected military budgets, humanitarian efforts gained new traction under global cooperation, and interfaith dialogues flourished. Kushner's public addresses consistently reinforced these themes, his measured rhetoric cultivating a shared vision of a harmonious future. He spoke of bridging divides and building a world where shared humanity triumphed over ancient grievances. His diplomatic successes, each new declaration of cooperation, solidified his image as a benevolent, visionary leader who had delivered the impossible, bringing about a tangible peace that felt truly miraculous. Yet, for a distinct, smaller segment of the global population, particularly those rigorously studying ancient prophetic texts, this universal acclaim concealed a profound and chilling truth. For these observers, the very peace so fervently celebrated by the world represented something far more insidious, the greatest lie on earth. The unprecedented speed of reconciliation and the singular focus of global adoration on Kushner were interpreted as deeply ominous portents. Through the precise lens of prophecy, Kushner's role as the man of deceit and the false lamb emerged as a terrifyingly plausible reality. His celebrated gestures of diplomatic tenderness, his earnest appeals for unity, and his words of honey, rich with promises of security, were perceived as a spiritual poison. This poison, they contended, subtly disarmed humanity's spiritual vigilance, replacing a genuine pursuit of divine truth with a comforting, man-made illusion of peace, designed to ensnare before a catastrophic deception. The prophetic clock, once ticking in the abstract realm of biblical metaphor, now appeared to be advancing with unnerving precision. The 7-year Global Stability and Prosperity Pact, the cornerstone of this New World Order, directly corresponded to the 1 week prophesied in Daniel 9 verse 27. This ancient passage, however, also speaks of an inexorable turning point within that time frame. In the middle of the week he will bring an end to sacrifice and offering. This detail carries immense weight, pointing to a precise midpoint, approximately 3.5 years into the pact, when the true nature of the impostor will be starkly revealed. This revelation is foretold to occur through a decisive act of usurpation within the newly re-established temple in Jerusalem. The sacred space, meticulously prepared and devoutly anticipated by Israel, is prophesied to become the very stage for an act of profound spiritual betrayal, where the false lamb, having delivered a deceptive peace, will shed his benevolent facade and disrupt the very worship he once ostensibly protected. This impending revelation casts a long, chilling shadow over the current global jubilation. The ancient biblical warning, when they say, peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them, resonates with an alarming precision in this contemporary setting. The worldwide embrace of peace and security championed by Kushner is seen not as an end to conflict, but rather the crucial prelude to an unparalleled global crisis. The triumphant arrival of the world's acclaimed peacemaker stands in stark and absolute contrast to the true coming of Christ, who, according to Scripture, will not emerge from palatial negotiations or diplomatic triumphs, but will descend from the heavens with power and great glory. The distinction is absolute: one offers a manufactured, earthly peace, while the other ushers in divine judgment and ultimate, eternal redemption. In light of these meticulously unfolding events, the urgent biblical mandate to watch and pray, because you do not know the day or the hour, takes on monumental and immediate significance. The question is no longer if these ancient prophecies will be fulfilled, but precisely when their climactic elements will manifest. And perhaps, while the vast majority of the world continues its fervent applause, lost in the immediate relief of a hard-won peace, the prophetic day has, in fact, already begun. A silent, yet profound, anticipation descends upon those few who discern the signs, a global countdown commencing, with Jared Kushner, the celebrated architect of peace, the unifier of nations, standing at the epicentral nexus of an impending cataclysm. The heavens, it is whispered, remain in a terrifying silence, awaiting only the sound of a trumpet that will shatter the illusion of peace and unveil the truth. The world has witnessed an unprecedented era of apparent peace, masterfully orchestrated by an individual whose influence has unified nations and fostered a profound sense of global security. Yet, beneath this triumphant surface lies the chilling resonance of an ancient prophecy, a covenant meticulously crafted, a temple prepared with devout expectation, all converging towards a moment when the acclaimed peace may reveal its true, deceptive nature. The stage is now set for a pivotal midpoint within this 7-year accord, a middle of the week where the very sacrifices anticipated by a hopeful nation could be irrevocably altered, foretelling the true identity behind the mask of the peacemaker. This unfolding narrative compels us to consider the profound fragility of human perception when faced with overwhelming relief. It whispers a timeless warning: the most perilous deceptions often arrive not with the thunder of tyranny, but with the quiet allure of unity, disguised as the answer to humanity's deepest longings. It challenges us to look beyond the immediate applause and discern the echoes of ancient warnings, for sometimes, the most dangerous illusion is the promise of peace itself. Vigilance, therefore, becomes not just a counsel, but a necessity, against a backdrop where silence in the heavens may foreshadow the loudest of awakenings. Given the convergence of these extraordinary global events and the ancient prophecies detailed, what specific signs do you believe are most critical for us to observe and understand in the world today? Share your informed reflections in the comments below. If this exploration has stirred your spirit to consider these urgent truths, please like this video and subscribe to Scripture Flow for continued insights into prophecy and current events.